Hello, thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. Today I'm going to be reviewing the deluxe version of Fugazi by Marillion, the final installment of the Fish era deluxe sets, as per usual, released in this book set format, mixed into fresh stereo and 5.1 by Andy Bradfield and Avril McIntosh. This is just prime fodder for Life and Surround, so here we go. Alright, this is the second Marillion album, as many of you are aware. It is the last deluxe set to be reissued from the Fish era. Comes in this book set again, has 3 CDs, has a Blu-ray. The CDs feature the stereo remix of the album proper, and 2 discs of a live show, the Spectrum Montreal '84. And then the Blu-ray also features Live in Montreal audio, features the album mixed in high-res stereo and high-res 5.1, both lossless, and then also some extra tracks, Cinderella Search, alternate take of Assassin 3 Boats Down from the Candy, Punch and Judy demo, She Chameleon demo, Emerald Lies demo, Incubus demo. You get the documentary as per usual, and this time also a track-by-track story of the songs that I found particularly interesting, Assassin promo video, and another live show made for Swiss TV. So this set is packed with musical content. It has its fair share of video content. It has a very long essay. I've only made it through about maybe a fifth of it. I got to the end of the, Spinal Tap-esque Parade of Drummers and haven't made it further. It doesn't have my beloved pictures of master tapes, but you get pretty close here. Get to see the band at the recording mixing console, and I thought it particularly interesting that it seems like they set it up so they could play back the mix through a variety of different types of speakers, which sounds wise to me. And then also get to see a concert poster from my beloved Rush, the mighty New World Tour, the Signals Tour. I was sad to read that Marillion weren't treated particularly well. The members of Rush were nice enough, but the road crew and support really gave Marillion a bit of a hard time, so I was sad to read that. I wish that there were only ever positive things to read about anything involving Rush, but we can't win them all. And yeah, I like this book set. It's got a lot of information in it. It's got a lot of expanded artwork. It's got lots of pictures of the group from the era. A multitude. It's a visual feast for Marillion fans. And of course, comes also with this exquisite hype sticker. I always keep the hype sticker. Alright, so talked about the book. Talked about the features. Musically, this is not going to be big news to those intimately familiar with Marillion. This is considered by many to be the least of the Fish era albums in terms of songwriting. They were asked to quickly follow up Script for a Jester's Tear, which they had nurtured for many years and cut their teeth on live, and was just much more of a naturally paced effort. And then they were asked, as is often the case from a record label, to follow up quick. And in my opinion, they actually did a pretty good job. I've never found it possible to get really deeply into the original mix of the album, but certainly this fresh stereo remix and particularly the 5.1 mix have helped me to really give this album a chance. And I agree that it is the least of the 4, but it's also quite an impressive and enjoyable album in its own right. So You know, I think it's really saying something if this is the weakest of the 4 Fish era Marillion records, like, it's still worth checking out. I think it has some low points where perhaps the band were treading water or had to rush things a little bit. I would particularly look at the kind of plodding 4 on the floor, doom, 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 doom passages that occupy a lot of time on the opening track and on the closing track. But both of those tracks also have sections that are much more musically and rhythmically interesting. And then you also have Punch and Judy and Jigsaw, which are, for me, extremely memorable. And man, this album goes some dark places. Be careful of some strong language on She Chameleon and suggestive themes on She Chameleon and Incubus. This is not one that I'll be sharing with me mum, I'll tell you that. It earned yet another 15-year-old rating, and this one is dark on the level of Clutching at Straws. Yeah. Musically, I recommend this to those who can stomach some strong themes, and not going to share it with my mom, as I said. Anyway, moving on to the sonics and the mix. I've heard some criticism that maybe a little bit too much compression was used in the mixing of this record. Like, somebody said that the opening track comes in too abruptly, and they liked how it built more slowly on the original mix. And I'll be honest, I didn't bother to go back and put on my original CD. But in listening to this in the fresh stereo and 5.1, the opening track builds just fine for me. The toms build in intensity, the keys build in intensity. It works for me. If it comes in more quickly and stronger than the original, it doesn't ruin anything for me. Some other people cite that the title track is missing a pause. And again, I didn't go and compare it, but the way that the song unfolds on this version works well enough for me. I've heard some people say that at volume they get some listening fatigue, but that has not been the case on my systems. I have a fairly modest home theater system that can go from stereo on up to Atmos and RO3D, and I have a more thoughtfully and lovingly put together quad 5.1 system, and this album performs extremely well on both. I can listen to it loud enough to shut out the world, and sounds great to me. Avril and Andy have employed very generous use of the center channel again to showcase Fish's exposed dry vocal, and in fact I even shut off my quad amp and left just my monoblock powering the center channel and listened to this whole record so that I could hear Fish just really isolated, and it helped me to dig into his lyrics more and really made me appreciate the nuance in his vocal delivery from line to line, even sections that are similar compositionally, musically. He takes a different, unique approach most of the time, and just made the themes and the personal content of this album much more accessible to me. So let's take a look at the mix real quick, in case anybody has heard accusations that this mix was dynamically compressed. I mean, there's a little bit, but in my opinion, it's well within norms. And again, to my ears, it sounds great. A little bit of compression can do good things for a mix. And we see plenty of headroom across all 6 channels. This mix sounds good to me. It has plenty going on in the surrounds. Let's isolate the surrounds here just for a little bit. Now let's take a second, Life in Surround family, to give ourselves a pat on the back. It could be that opinions expressed here and over on quadrophonic.com, one of my favorite internet hangouts, helped Andy and Avril to seek some more surround adventurousness on this album. In my opinion, this sounds just as good as their work on Script for a Jester's Tear, which is a sonic masterpiece, but then they've also pushed the envelope with their 5.1 mix. There's important, interesting information happening in the surrounds throughout this album. The surround mix is consistent, it's immersive, it's interesting, it fits the music. You have important parts residing all around you. You have bass and drums mostly up front, but there are some key passages where there's some interesting tom-tom panning. The lead vocal resides up front, but this album is absolutely prolific with vocal overdubs, and those often make really, really good use of the surrounds, distinguishing them from the lead vocal.
A friend in need is a friend that bleeds. Let bits of silence infect the wound. Let bits of silence infect the wound. Your friend. I am the assassin. I am.
Andy and Avril have done a great job of making you feel like you are in the midst of the band, in the midst of the music. It just really helps this album sink in quite well. It unlayers often thick production. It reveals things that you've never heard before. This is what I want in a 5.1 mix. In my opinion, it is their best work for Marillion so far. It's on par with their mix that they did for Weltschmerz by Fish, and if they keep this up, they are going to be among my pantheon of top surround mixers. So what's the future of the Marillion Deluxe series? I think we have Season's End coming out at some point, and I'm not sure beyond that. Marillion have their new album, the 20th album, An Hour Before It's Dark, coming out, and it has a variety of packages, including a standalone Blu-ray, and some other more affordable packages, and then also a Super Deluxe per usual. So I'm so thrilled that Marillion have embraced surround. They are among my favorite bands musically. I enjoy the band both with Fish and with H. So pleased that they have engaged some top quality mixers like Steven Wilson and Andy and Avril. I'm also a fan of some of Michael Hunter's work too. So we'll see what happens on the new album. We'll see what happens on the further reissues. Can we hope for marbles? That would sure be amazing. And so I'll just say, per usual, I appreciate your support. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the notification bell, leave your comments below. Let me know, and everyone else, what you think about the Marillion reissues, Marillion in surround, the future of Marillion. Whatever you want to say. I appreciate the support. It helps get this channel out to more viewers. And until next time, I'll simply encourage you to live life in surround.